The question is there a self?
Well, there's an assumption of a self, whatever that could be. People assume they have a self. That doesn't mean that is the self, or that is their self. That is any self, whatever that could mean. See. So it's whether one assumes they are a self or not. See. And I think that's one of the big mysteries of life. See, are you a self? Do you have a self? Right, and so on and so forth, relative to what a person's assumption is. See, you could also ask, were you ever born with a self? Are you born into self? See, where does the self come from? See, these are also related assumptions. See, is there a self that we can be that's better than what we've been? Yeah, which is a good question. See, because there are a lot of people who are seemingly full of themselves, and that's not enough. They want more self. They want somebody else's self. See, they want to be better and greater selves. So there's a long sort of train of thought that follows that question.
So then, if there is a self, is there such thing as selflessness?
If there is is there a without? We'd have to say similarly that's an assumption. That there is a self that can be undone. That's an assumption. Right? That's also a practice, actually. It's the assumption of a practice in the Dhamma to try and be selfless. See? So this is an assumption and a point of view then. Then it's a valid point of view. See? So we have self as a valid point of view, and we have selflessness as a valid point of view.
Why do most people say that they're searching for themselves rather than letting go of themselves?
Well, they have to know what the self is to begin with, to either search for it or to let it go. What is the self? Who is the self? See, when does the self show up? When is the self real at all? See, and we're talking about assumption, identification of assumption. See. And whether or not there could be a search for a self. See. Are they really looking for a self? Do they even know what the self is that they're looking for in some cases? Or what they're trying to become, a self of somebody else? See, like a hero, right? It's like a self. John Wayne, right? People want to be John Wayne, or used to want to be John Wayne. See? And these heroes, see, imagined, assumed heroes, good guys, or even bad guys, right? They're heroes for some people. You see. So then, what is that? Why? What is that? Is that our potential? Is that our purpose in life? Right? Is to try and find a self, or trying to image someone else, or imagine we are capable of being more than we appear to be, and so on and so forth. See? So this is a part of the chaotic, let's say, mystery of self-searching. We can use that term, the self-search, searching for whatever self is, right? And maybe there is no self that you can ever be. And maybe that, because there is no self, maybe that is the self. It's the self of no self, perhaps. So what are we looking for? More? Is it then based upon greed, right? Ego? See, or exaggeration of self, or delusion of self, which is more or less ego, or we can call it that, projection. So this is a big mystery. Who is what then? What is who? See, to begin with, you. Okay, right. Why be a self? Why be anything? Why not be? Just be. Not as self, or not as no self, or anything. Why not just be? And it seems that many of the spiritual traditions enable you to just be in the form of the practice they call meditation. They're not asking you to be anything, but maybe a meditator. That means nothing. Be a nothing. Right? Be like a leaf on a tree. See? Just sit and just be. Breathe. See? And that, because of the utter simplicity of what that is, or nativeness of what it is, can be key to you becoming more than you've ever been, in a sense. And as a result of just being, like zero, the meditator, say, open, you can start to recognize what you need to be, apart from what you've been struggling to be, or who you've been struggling to be. See? So then the meditation becomes a rest point that enables the practitioner, see, to pull themselves together and consider what it is that they could be, that they really need to be, more than just a self. So then in spiritual practice situations where you're asked to be a meditator, see, that is a suggestion to be no self. If you're going to be a meditator, don't be anyone. Be quiet. See? Just sit, be, breathe. See? So then it's an invitation to be selfless to a certain degree, for good reason. See? Because after a person has been seeking through various technologies or spiritual exercises or trips, you start to realize, well, everybody's asked to sit but the master, the teacher, so to speak, right? Who then has to be assumed that they've already done the sitting, and so they already know what they need to know, and they're already being what they need to be, and so on and so forth. They were already beyond assumption. They're just in the state of being. And that could be very exactly, precisely the purpose, see, of the meditation, is to become then master of your whole universe of unconsciousness. See, selfishness, unconsciousness, ignorance. See, and that's what the grace of meditation is ultimately possibly about. See, just to open up to the inner potential of your consciousness or awareness, or of your awakeness, and try to claim that as something one is, more so than images of self relative to Hollywood, society, or imagination. So some individuals would like to project, make a case for that, well, if you're meditating, you're just being nothing, as if just being nothing is some kind of lack of something, right? A loss of some sort, right? Like a rip-off or something, right? A lack. Well, it's a lack of neuroses, for one thing. See, it's a lack of confusion, or can be a lack of confusion, as another plus. See, And we can go as far as saying it's possible that the lack of confusion can mean that you have increase of clarity of awareness, a clearer perception of who you are and what you need to do or where you need to go or what you need to be, beyond being the suffering self, the confused self, the schizoid self. See? The darkness of that, the suffering of what it is. Mm-hmm. So then it's a matter of intuiting what the higher purpose of what could be considered the posture of emptiness, awakeness, just sitting, doing nothing, being nothing, is really ultimately about. See, what is it? See, what's to be gained from doing nothing in this sense? See, if not increasing and expanding your consciousness awareness into the universe of itself, which is the great nothing, which is everything. See, for some progressive types, no self is a starting point. No self is the big step, and no self is already the reality. When you're born, what are you, self or no self? It's a baby. It's a noisy no self, right? Without a clue. It's just human nature at the baby level. See? And learning more of what it is to be and what it is not to be as it lives, see? As it survives. See? It becomes more part of this universe as distinct from the universe that led to being born, which is the other universe. See? We can call it the non-material universe, see, of awareness and maybe the spirits, see, and the other worlds, the other dimensions, see, and so on, which are all part of it. See, what it is, and what it isn't, it's all part of it. See, that includes the self of being nothing and the no self of being everything. Because someone who's in the no-self state of meditation at a pure level is then being the source of everything. It could be said that they are being the light of light or the clear light itself, right? The spirit, clear, the pure spirit, the light of spirit, not just the blah blah of spirit, not just the torso of spirit, not just the ego and the noise of spirit, but just the light of spirit, see. So, this is all part of it, see. And so, what the practice of spiritual realization is about. Realizing your no nature, your non-nature, and thus the essence of everything. That could be considered your heart nature, right? The universal heart nature of this, that, and everything else, and then nothing at the same time. Mm-hmm.
So you're talking about tracks that people could be on. So what are some of these different tracks that one can take, I guess now beyond just being a self?
Well, there are are traditions that break it down into dimensions of consciousness. See, so we are generally on the physical track. See, the self track, the ordinary body track. See, you are your self body, your body of self. See, the physical body, earth body. See, and that's the basic body. It's the earth body. See, that's the material body, right? And within the material body, I'm going to use this concept of the within, and so on and so forth, to somehow illuminate the concept of having multiple tracks that we could be on. You can be on the astral rather than the physical body, which is akin to a psychic sense of reality, a feeling reality. See, we're also on that track. Sometimes some people are never really aware of that track, and sometimes some people can only be aware of that track. See? And they don't sense the physical. See? And then within the physical, you have the emotional, and then within the emotional, you have a psychic body. See? See? We can call it that. See? Like a super emotional. Inner emotional, not just physical emotions, but psychic emotions that connect you and demonstrate to you that without any doubt that you are connected to this, that, and whatever, whether you think about it or not. It's your connection. It's like being connected to the earth and being connected to the solar system and being connected to, the sun and the universe. We're connected to that, but we seldom think about it unless you're into physics or astrology or astronomy. So we have that as another track. See, super physical track, super subtle track, right? And then we have the psychic level of that, which we are able to perceive, stop, and feel at any point along the physical track, your time track. See, and we can get to more subtler tracks. See. Mental track, and then the supramental track, see, or higher mental track, working with even more abstract thought, see, subtle thought, and then we get to what is called the spiritual, the non-mental, see, the beyond mental track, see, and then the infinite tracks beyond that, which then it's just knowing. You move beyond thinking into knowing on the way to just being. Being. Good luck. Shoot.